Have you noticed this strange pattern in modern life? You pick up your phone to reply to one message, and suddenly 15 minutes vanish. You sit down to work, and your brain slips away, wandering, drifting, breaking into 1,000 fragments. You try to focus on a single thing, but your mind behaves like a wild horse refusing to stay still. Most people think something is wrong with them. They blame attention disorders, bad habits, lack of motivation. But the truth is simpler. Your mind is not broken. Your environment is hostile. Constant notifications, infinite scrolling, TikTok-style stimulation, microdopamine hits every few seconds. Your brain is being trained to split into pieces. Researchers from the University of California discovered something disturbing. After a single interruption, it takes the average person 23 minutes and 15 seconds to regain deep focus. Now, imagine how many times your attention is interrupted every day. We're not dealing with laziness, we're dealing with a neurological war. But here's the part most people don't know. There exists an ancient Japanese method so powerful, so transformative, that it can reconstruct your attention from the inside out. A technique designed not for productivity, but for mastery, not for studying, but for warriors. And its name is Ichigyo Zammai, the art of absolute single focus. This technique was used in Zen monasteries, samurai training schools, and classical arts like archery, swordsmanship, calligraphy, and strategy. It teaches you one thing. If you can command your attention, you can command your life. Today, you're going to learn exactly how it works, through a story that reflects the struggle many men face today. But before we continue, brother, tell me in the comments, what is the biggest distraction that hijacks your attention? Your phone? Your mind? Your anxiety? Your boredom? Let me know. Your answers help me understand what your biggest battles are. Now, back to the story. Chapter 1. The Collapse of Daniel Hale. Daniel was 27 when he realized his life was falling apart. He wasn't failing publicly. He wasn't broke. He wasn't collapsing in dramatic ways. His problem was silent, internal, invisible. Daniel was losing the private war with his own mind. He worked as a junior software developer, smart, capable, ambitious, but every day followed the same pattern. He opened his laptop to work and ended up scrolling social media. He sat down to study, and within minutes his brain was jumping between 10 different thoughts. He tried focusing, but it felt like someone had poured sand into his mental gears. Daniel wasn't lazy, he was drowning. And the worst part? He knew he was wasting his potential. When his manager asked for updates, Daniel lied. When deadlines approached, he panicked. When his girlfriend tried talking to him, he drifted away, lost inside a mind he couldn't control. On one Thursday afternoon, everything collapsed. During a simple team meeting, Daniel froze. His mind blanked out. His heart raced. He couldn't answer a basic question. People stared. His manager looked disappointed. Daniel left the conference room trembling. He knew something had to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Chapter 2. The Mentor. Nobody expected. The next morning, Daniel reached the office early, desperate, anxious, ashamed. At the far end of the room, an older Japanese colleague sat quietly, sipping tea and reviewing code. His name was Mr. Sakamoto. He was in his 60s, calm, precise, focused in a way that seemed unnatural, while everyone else jumped between tabs, notifications, and tasks. Mr. Sakamoto worked like a silent blade. Daniel approached him reluctantly. "Sir, how do you stay so focused?" The old man looked up, smiled gently, and gestured to the empty chair beside him. "Sit, speak." Daniel explained everything: the anxiety, the distractions, the mental clutter, the panic attack. When he finished, Mr. Sakamoto simply nodded. "You are not broken," he said. "You are overstimulated." Then he took a blank sheet of paper and wrote one phrase. "Ichigyo Zammai." Daniel frowned. "What does that mean?" Mr. Sakamoto folded the paper and handed it to him. "It means do one thing with all your heart until nothing else exists." Daniel waited for an explanation. The old man continued. "Your generation lives horizontally, always moving outward, never inward. You consume too much. You react too much. Your attention is scattered because your mind has never been trained." He paused. "In Japan, there is a discipline taught to monks, painters, and swordsmen. It rewires the mind. It restores focus. It eradicates distraction." Daniel leaned forward. "Teach me." Mr. Sakamoto smiled. "I will, but only if you're willing to suffer a little. Training the mind is like training a muscle. It burns before it grows." Chapter 3. The first lesson, Ritual of Entry. The next day, Daniel met Mr. Sakamoto after work. The old man placed a notebook and timer on the table. "This is your new ritual. Phone in another room, out of sight, out of existence. Desk completely empty. No clutter, no visual noise. One task written on paper. Not two, not three, one. 3 deep breaths, inhale clarity. Exhale noise. Start a 15-minute timer. During these 15 minutes, the world no longer exists." Daniel nodded. "That's it? Just 15 minutes?" Mr. Sakamoto laughed softly. "And that is the arrogance of modern men. You think you deserve an hour of focus when you cannot give me 15 minutes. Daniel felt embarrassed, but he obeyed. That night, he tried the ritual. The first 5 minutes were torture. His mind screamed, "Check your phone, open another tab, look at a message." He resisted, not perfectly, but he resisted. After 15 minutes, the timer rang. He checked the time. He had completed more real work in 15 minutes than he had done in the previous 3 hours. For the first time in years, Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Control. Chapter 4. The second lesson, Return of Attention. The next day, Daniel met the old man again. Mr. Sakamoto drew a small circle. "This is your attention." Then he drew millions of tiny dots around it. "These are your thoughts." He poked one dot. "When your mind wanders, do not punish yourself. Do not fight the distraction. Simply say, 'Ah, my mind wandered,' and gently bring it back." Daniel blinked. "That's it?" "Yes," Sakamoto said. "You are training attention the same way you train a puppy. With gentle repetition, not violence." Daniel practiced it everywhere, while eating, walking, showering, coding, talking. If his mind drifted, he acknowledged it and returned. Within a week, something incredible happened. He could feel his brain getting stronger. Chapter 5. The Slow Rebirth of a Man. Routine became sacred. Every day, phone away, one task, timer on, breathing, full immersion. His co-workers noticed, "You're faster these days. You're calmer. You don't zone out anymore." His girlfriend noticed too. "You're actually present when we talk now." The fog in his mind began clearing. For the first time, Daniel felt like a warrior, not in the physical sense, but in the mental sense. His attention was becoming a weapon. Chapter 6. The Science Behind Ichigyo Zammai. Daniel returned to Mr. Sakamoto with a question. "Is this just philosophy, or is it scientific?" The old man nodded slowly. It is both. He handed Daniel a printed study from Harvard. Focused attention training increases gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex. Another study from Stanford, mind wandering decreases by nearly 40% with intentional single-focus practice. Another from Yale, regular presence reduces anxiety by silencing the brain's default mode network, the network responsible for overthinking. Daniel sat quietly. His mind was changing, and science proved it. Chapter 7. The Challenge of 30 Days. After 2 weeks, Mr. Sakamoto gave him the real test. 30 days. Every day, 15 minutes of absolute concentration. Daniel accepted. Week 1. Difficult, heavy, uncomfortable. Week 2. Cleaner thoughts, fewer impulses. Week 3. Deeper focus, longer sessions. Week 4. Something awakened. That month, Daniel achieved more work and progress than he had achieved in the previous 6 months combined. 28 days into the challenge, he woke up, looked at the mirror, and realized something. He was no longer the same man. Chapter 8. The Unspoken Transformation. On day 30, Daniel met Mr. Sakamoto one final time. The old man asked, "What changed?" Daniel answered quietly, "I no longer chase distractions. I control when I start. I control when I stop. I control my attention." Sakamoto nodded. "Then you have understood Ichigyo Zammai." He paused. "And remember this, a focused man is a rare man, and a rare man becomes unstoppable." Daniel left the room with a new identity. Not a man overwhelmed by life, but a man who moves with intention. Chapter 9. Your turn. Brother, listen carefully now. Daniel is fictional, but his transformation is real. Every distracted man carries the potential for deep focus if he trains his attention like a warrior trains his sword. Ichigyo Zammai is not a productivity hack. It is a way of living. When you eat, you eat. When you work, you work. When you rest, you rest. When you study, you study. One thing, one moment, one attention. Everything else is noise. If you found clarity in this message, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and let this journey continue. And tell me in the comments, what is the biggest distraction you will eliminate first? Walk with discipline. Walk with presence. Walk with honor. See you in the next video.